ever feel like you've hit a wall with your English? Like you're putting in the work, but it just isn't quite clicking.
I know that feeling. It's so common.
Yeah, it can be super frustrating.
Yeah.
So today we're diving into something that might surprise you. Reading.
Oh, interesting.
We're not talking about boring old textbooks, though. We're going to explore how reading for fun can actually be this secret weapon for unlocking fluency.
Okay. I'm all ears. Tell me more.
We're basing this deep dive on this really cool piece called The Importance of Reading, and it's packed with insights.
Awesome. What's the main takeaway?
Well, the big idea is that reading isn't just about learning new words.
Right.
It's like a workout for your whole language brain.
I like that. A workout for your language. What do they mean by that?
So it's like, think about it this way. When you read, you're not just memorizing words in isolation, like on flashcards.
Yeah.
You're seeing those words in action, like woven into sentences, telling a story.
Oh, that makes sense. So it's about context.
Exactly. And our source says that context is key. You're getting the full picture, the emotions, the nuances, all of that jazz.
It's like the difference between reading a recipe and actually tasting the dish.
Yes, 100%. You're not just learning the ingredients, you're experiencing the flavors, the textures. It all comes alive.
I love that analogy.
And the cool thing is this whole process, it happens organically.
What do you mean?
Well, think back to how you learned your first language. You didn't start with grammar rules, did you?
No way.
You listened, you observed, you just absorbed the language around you. And reading, it allows you to do the same thing with English.
That makes so much sense.
So let's get practical. Let's say you want to expand your vocabulary. What's a better strategy? Cramming flashcards or reading a captivating novel?
Well, I mean, we all know flashcards can be helpful sometimes, but let's be real, they can be kind of a drag. Reading a story that truly grabs you, that's where the magic happens. It's like our source says, you encounter words naturally. Suddenly, you're not just memorizing a definition, you're understanding how the word lives and breathes in a sentence.
Right. So instead of just knowing a word, you understand how to use it, how it feels, all the shades of meaning.
Exactly. It's like that aha moment when you realize, oh, I get it now. I can use that word.
Okay, I'm sold on vocabulary, but what about grammar? English grammar can be, let's just say, a little tricky.
Oh, tell me about it. It can be a real brain twister.
So how does reading help us crack the code?
Well, think of every sentence you read as a mini grammar lesson in disguise.
Yeah.
You're subconsciously absorbing the patterns, the structures, the way words work together. Like, take this sentence from the article. The importance of reading for English language learners. See how it just flows? You instinctively know it's grammatically sound, even if you couldn't explain all the rules at play.
Right. It's like our brain is picking up on the patterns without us even realizing it.
Exactly. It's like learning to dance. You don't necessarily need to know the technical terms for every step. With enough practice, you just start to feel the rhythm and move with it.
I love that. So we're building this intuitive sense of grammar just by reading. But how does that translate into actually speaking and understanding more complex English? Like, how does it help us with fluency?
It's like building a muscle, right?
Okay.
The more you read, the more you expose your brain to the natural rhythms and patterns of English. So you get used to complex sentence structures, you encounter a wider range of vocabulary, and all of this builds your comprehension.
So it becomes easier to follow along with conversations.
Absolutely. And even to understand different accents and dialects, it's like the more input you give your brain through reading, the stronger and more flexible your output becomes when you speak and listen.
I've noticed that for myself, the more I read in English, the more confident I feel using it.
Oh, absolutely. Confidence is key. When you're constantly encountering new words and grammatical structures in a comfortable, low-pressure setting like reading, it makes it so much easier to start using them yourself.
Right. You're no longer afraid to make mistakes or stumble over your words because you've seen those words and structures in action so many times before.
Exactly.
Okay, so we know reading is important, but let's give our listeners some actionable tips here. Our source, The Importance of Reading, has some great advice on how to make it work.
Yes. First things first. Don't make it a chore.
Yes.
Start with stuff you actually enjoy reading. If that's comic books, great. If it's celebrity gossip magazines, go for it. If it's like the backs of cereal boxes while you eat breakfast, hey, why not? The important thing is to find something that holds your interest, because the more you enjoy it, the more likely you are to stick with it.
Right. It shouldn't feel like homework. It should be fun.
Absolutely. And another thing, be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
You don't have to start with War and Peace. Begin with something manageable. Even just a few pages a day can make a huge difference over time. Consistency trumps intensity every time.
And what about those times when we stumble upon a word we don't know? Do we just skip over it?
That's where our friend the dictionary comes in. But don't think of it as a chore. Think of it as like a treasure hunt.
Ooh, I like that.
You encounter this word you don't know. It's a mystery. And you get to use your detective skills, look it up, uncover its meaning, and ta-da! You've just added a new word to your vocabulary arsenal.
So we're making it fun and we're staying curious.
I love it. Exactly. And lastly, make it personal. Take notes of words or phrases that really resonate with you. Maybe it's a turn of phrase that you find particularly beautiful or a word that perfectly captures a feeling. Write them down. Make your own little vocabulary bank.
It's like creating your own personalized language toolkit.
I love that. So much good advice here. We've covered so much ground today. Reading, it's not just about flipping through pages. It's about immersing yourself in the richness of the English language.
It is. It's about absorbing the rhythms, the nuances, the way words dance together to create meaning and stories.
And don't forget the confidence boost. Knowing that you can navigate a world of English text, it empowers you to tackle those real-life conversations and interactions with a newfound sense of ease and, well, joy.
Yes, and that's what it's all about. So listeners, we're leaving you with this challenge. Find one thing you love in English, a blog, a song, anything, and make it a habit to read it regularly. You'll be amazed at the difference it makes. Until next time, happy reading.